Hey, I want to talk about depth on the dumbbell press. And I'm just using really light dumbbells here. Don't worry about the weight up, but I'm using some orange dumbbells so you can really get an idea of where my hand position is relative to my body. So we all know that we're not necessarily looking to go as deep as possible because then you might put some stress on your ligaments. So we often hear the general cue made that don't let your elbows go past your shoulders when you do the dumbbell press, which would look something like this, as opposed to getting, going back as far as you can and going into that end range at your shoulder. So my thing is, I don't necessarily tell everybody to stop when their elbow is exactly parallel with the floor or even with their shoulder, because one of the things we know from the research on muscle growth is that we want to create some muscle damage, and one of the ways to do that is to create some length with tension. So where I cue it when I'm training folks is to go just below parallel right when they start to feel a stretch, but not to end range. So we go somewhere in between, not end range, but we certainly don't stop at parallel. So that's a little different for everybody. But what that normally looks like for me, that's parallel, and right about there, a little deeper, is when I start to feel a nice stretch, and that's as deep as I go. So I want to get a little stretch, but not end range. So you see the difference, there's end range, there's parallel. I'm just below that parallel, getting a stretch when I do the dumbbell press. So I have a black shirt, we got this kind of a funky bench here that's put me on somewhat of a decline, so we would do a flat bench. But hopefully you can see that well with the orange dumbbells. So again, quick review, when it comes to how far that I coach, as long as you don't have any shoulder issues, when we're doing a basic dumbbell press or a bench press, is to go slightly to where you feel a stretch at your pecs, but not go to end range, and we certainly don't use that general rule of thumb, just stop at parallel, because we feel that doesn't give you as much of a stretch, which doesn't necessarily maximize your muscle growth based on what we know about what creates muscle damage.